Everybody to our regular council meeting for Monday, July 21st. We are a little bit later starting this evening because we had a special council meeting that ran late. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We do have Councillor Kim Verbeek sending regrets. She's on vacation. We acknowledge that this land is a traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of the First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi peoples, and of the Huron-Wendat peoples. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and of all the original peoples of Turtle Island who have been living and working on the land from time immemorial. If you are able, please stand for the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Meeting today. Any declarations of conflicts of interest from members of council this evening? Seeing none, if you find yourself in conflict later, please let us know. I need a mover and a seconder of the adoption of the published agenda, and we do need to postpone item 17.1.2, and that is Councillor Verbeek's notice of our motion because she's away, and we do need to add another motion on overnight parking for cyclists. So looking for a mover and a seconder that the published agenda be adopted as amended. Deputy Mayor Shepley, Councillor Allard, any questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Adoption of the minutes from July 7th, needing a mover and a seconder that the minutes be adopted as circulated. Moved by Deputy Mayor Shepley, supported by Councillor Mady. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Public presentations. We have Cynthia Swift, the lead audit engagement partner from KPMG, to present the 2024 audited financial statements and audit findings for the report for the town of Essex. Thank you for joining us tonight, Cynthia, and sorry about the wee little wait.
No worries, Your Mayor. Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. In your agenda package today, you have our draft audit, our audit findings report and the draft financial statements. I'll keep my comments at a high level, but as in the past, the audit findings report is to help you discharge your responsibilities with respect to the year-end financial reporting process. We are in a position to issue our unmodified audit opinion subject to discussions with council today, or if you have any questions. The financial statements, as you'll recall, are in accordance with public sector accounting standards. We did have the full cooperation of management. The only outstanding items to complete the audit and sign the report is the representation letter that management will send to me. And we are just waiting for the final financial statements from the Union Water System. And just one highlight with respect to the financial statements, you know, the corporation is in a strong financial position. There was one change in accounting policy this year, and that's with respect to the Union Water System. And that went under accounting terms, that went from a government unit to a general business entity, such as your subsidiary ELK. So instead of consolidating your proportionate share of the Union Water System, you're now just showing the investment in the Union Water System. And also we had no control deficiencies, so that really speaks highly of management and the good internal controls and process at the town. And KPMG is independent. And, with that, as I mentioned, the financial position is the town is in a strong financial position, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you. Members of council, do you have any questions for Cynthia? I want to thank you for doing a great job as well. Another year. CEO Drusevich would like to make a comment.
Through the chair, our manager Anne Marie is unable to get online right now. She is the lead on this project. She did have a few speaking notes, but I'll take over in light of her IT difficulties. Firstly, I'll send a thank you to her and her team. They spend a large amount of their time on this file. The year-end audit is no small task. I think to note for council on the financials, tangible capital assets being our assets that serve the community increased by $7 million. So there are investments being made in the town assets and replacements of such. As Cynthia mentioned, the town has strong internal controls to make sure that we're safeguarding residents' assets at the end of the day. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to assist Cynthia in answering them.
Drusevich, any questions from members of council this evening? Seeing none, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that the presentation of the 2024 audited financial statements and audit findings report from the town of Essex be received, and that the 2024 audited financial statements and audit findings report for the town of Essex be adopted as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Shepley, supported by Councillor Mady. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Moving on to, thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. See you later.
Moving on to, we have Lori Brett on behalf of the Harrow Early Immigrant Research Society. She's here to speak about historical bylaws and minute scanning project. Welcome, Lori. Sorry about the wee little wait too.
Problem. Thank you so much. Good evening, Your Worship and council members. My name is Lori Brett, and I am the Secretary Treasurer of the Harrow Early Immigrant Research Society, and you might know us better as by the acronym AIRS. I'm here tonight to give you a brief description of a scanning project that the volunteers at AIRS recently completed in cooperation with your clerk's department. So if we can move to the next slide, I'd just like to say a few words about AIRS. Our Constitution lays out our mission, that is to promote and advocate for the preservation and study of genealogical and local history in the original township of Colchester. The boundaries of that township essentially mirror the current town of Essex boundaries today. As you can see in Article 3, I've underlined a few words. One of the key purposes is to collect and especially to preserve print artifacts and written materials related to local history. With that purpose in mind, I approached the clerk's department about a year ago. I explained the project that I had in mind, and I received permission to scan and digitize as many of the handwritten minutes, not all of the minutes, the handwritten minutes and bylaws that could be located. Next slide. So to date, AIRS has scanned and digitized 28,111 pages of handwritten records. The file image on the left simply shows you how the records have been organized, and the listing on the right provides the range of years and the bylaw numbers that we've completed. The oldest minutes date back to 1859 and the most recent to 1959. Next slide. Here, this is simply to show you how we've organized them and that we've scanned from 3 different record types. We scanned from large bound books that the clerks would write directly into with pen. We scanned from binders of quasi-official loose leaf minutes and bylaws that some of the clerks maintained. And we also found microfilm reels of early Colchester South and Colchester North minutes in our resource collection, and we digitized those as well. And here you can see the structure for each of the towns and each of the townships. Next slide. Most of us here tonight were probably schooled, maybe some of us were not, in cursive writing. We can write in cursive and we can read cursive handwriting, but younger generations did not have the benefit of penmanship classes. And we've discovered that many young people cannot, including some of our volunteers, cannot read cursive. So here on the left, you can see the clerk's handwriting from the 1860 Colchester Township Minute Book. In the middle, he's on the left. In the middle, it's a quarter revision meeting from 1923 in Colchester North. And on the right is a page from the 1932 Town of Essex minute book that was written by my great-grandfather, R.R. Brett. He was the clerk at one time. Advances in handwriting recognition technology have made it possible to scan these pages, transcribe them, and make them searchable. Next slide, please. Unfortunately, technology can't always compensate for faded type or ink blots or damage. A poor choice of a pen 100 years ago often means that we're dealing with faint type today. More tragic than that is when pages start to decompose due to adverse environmental factors, and that's what's happened on the right-hand side to some of the Colchester South Township minutes. Next slide. But the good news is that we've been able to make the vast majority of the records searchable. Here I conducted a search for Edmund Darby. He was the first mayor of Harrow after it was incorporated as a town in 1930. And you can see that his last name is highlighted. It's just an example of how a search would take place. Next slide. A few weeks ago, I met with the clerk's department and I presented them with a copy of the digitized records, so they're already in your possession. I'd like to acknowledge the participation of the clerk, the deputy clerk, and staff members Shauna Couvion and Diane Emery especially. And they were critical to making this project successful. The books are very heavy and they're not easily hauled around. I can attest to that. I'd also like to recognize the volunteers and board of directors at AIRS who supported this project. We have some free time on our hands now, so we've turned our efforts to scanning a very large collection of photographs. In this photograph, Art Rhino is pictured on the left and David Hutchison on the right. Art is a systems librarian at the University of Windsor. David is a key member of the Essex County branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society. On the day this photo was taken, they were transporting 130 years worth of print-based newspapers from the Essex Free Press office on Center Street here in Essex to the Leddy Library archives at the University of Windsor. Preserving the original print copies of our local newspapers has become a pressing issue in the face of significant challenges to the industry related to financial viability, ownership changes, and newsroom closures. Art Rhino has a special and mostly solitary interest in ensuring that our local newspapers have been digitized for posterity. He's also the person who ran the town minutes and bylaws through handwriting recognition software, making them searchable. And as an aside, I just want to mention that he lives in Essex, just a few blocks away from here. For the past 32 years, he's been a resident of the town. I know this because he lives in my house, and he frequently jokes that he is compiling a very long invoice itemizing all the services he has provided to our local historical community over the years. So thank you for your time tonight. There's another slide to thank you, and I'm very happy that AIRS is able to share the results of this project with the town. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any.
Pretty amazing. Director Malandrucolo.
The clerk's department would just want to say we're very thankful for the material. We've already started using some of it, especially for drainage bylaws that were hard to find and not digitized. They were hard to get through. We've already started using it, so we're very appreciative for your efforts. Thank you.
I'm just going to pull this out, and I don't know. I apologize. I didn't tell anybody about this. I'm wondering, is it possible for us to give $500 from our council contingency fund as a donation to AIRS to thank them? I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't tell anybody. Is it possible? Like, you do so much work and nobody acknowledges how much you all work. And I'm sure that this was a lot of time and it could have bought you a cup of coffees along the way.
Can I respond to that? Yeah. I would like to say, Madam Mayor, excuse me, that the town does support us because we are supported in our rent at the Harrow Community Center. And the mayor herself has supported us recently with the mayor's yard sale. We were one of the recipient charities. So we're always happy for anything that we get, any kind of support, financial support we get from the community and especially from the town. And we've also received money this year for the photo archive project that I described. We've just started and it's going really well. So I would just like to say that we are appreciative.
Fit under my hat then when you ask again. Any comments from the rest of council? Looking for a motion to receive the delegation by Lori Brett regarding the historical bylaws and minute scanning project. Councillor Guerin, Councillor Hammond, any other questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Moving on, Dennis Richard, AIM Harrow Wind Farm CEO and Engine Canada Services. Dennis, I'm not sure who's joining you. If you want your crew to go back there, just go back there and you press the mic. And collectively, if you're the only speaker, you get 5 minutes. But if you want to bring anybody else, you get 10.
I'm sure they're happy to hear that. I think there's a slideshow to go along with this. Next slide, please. So yes, my name is Danny Richard. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the AIM Harrow Wind Farm, and brought with me Jason Stoner. He's our Regional Manager, takes care of our Canadian assets, and Christopher Carr, our Operations Manager, who is responsible for our local assets. Next slide, please. A little bit of information about the AIM Harrow Wind Farm. It started operation in 2010. There's 24 wind turbines at this facility, 1.65 megawatts each, giving us a total nameplate capacity of 39.6 megawatts of renewable energy, located just on the outskirts of the community of Harrow. Next slide, please. The reason why we are here is to address concerns raised by members of the community and by many people in this room here today regarding the condition of the turbines, specifically the visual appearance, which shows some blade which are stained from materials that have come from the wind turbines. So as we can see here, there are some black marks on these blades. I can assure you that is not supposed to be the case, and we're here to talk about what we are doing to address these concerns. Next slide, please. A little bit of information is required to understand the situation, and what we can see from this pictograph here is that there is some equipment in the rotating portion that we refer to as the hub. It's attached to the cast metal hub, as you can see indicated there. There's blade bearings which allow the blades to rotate so that they can become more aerodynamic or less aerodynamic, and those are going to be rotated by hydraulic pitch cylinders. And those hydraulic pitch cylinders obviously contain hydraulic fluid, much as what we see in farm equipment around. And the blade bearings are greased with a lubricant or a typical grease that we would see in, bearings of any vehicle that we have. The blade collars are also there to keep the water out of the blade bearings and also to keep anything that's attempting to escape the turbine contained. Next slide, please. What we've observed, unfortunately, is that there has been some leaks in the pitch hydraulic systems. When those pitch hydraulic systems leak, the fluids will then make their way into the blade bearings, and then that mixture of blade bearing grease and hydraulic fluid will start to escape the wind turbine and will travel down the blades and deposit onto the components that we can see visually out in the community. And what we've been doing is we are repairing or upgrading a lot of the components inside the rotating hub, and we are working through that currently. And as we complete those upgrades, what we do is we then have rope access technicians who manually and laboriously clean the blades from all the grease. The product that is used is a biodegradable product, Simple Green, which anybody can look up and look at the characteristics of it. We've had environmental teams assess the cleaning process to determine that it is suitable and that there is no risk of contamination to the ground below from using this cleaning product. And what we are limited by currently is the number of available rope access technicians in the province of Ontario to help support us with this activity and beyond in North America as well. We've had our teams reach out. Also, one of the limiting factors is weather. When it rains, it's not suitable to be performing cleaning. If there's lightning in the area, it's obviously not suitable as well. And we're limited. We have time constraints seasonally. If it's cold outside in the winter, we're not able to perform the cleaning activities as well. And with some hot weather, we're required to provide the workers with some breaks, which slows down the progress as well. Next slide, please. So what we see here is the end result of turbines that have been cleaned. These turbines did look very much like the ones earlier in the presentation, but after a significant amount of effort, they have been cleaned. And just to point out, I think it takes a little over a week to do a single blade, and there's 3 blades, and then there's parts of the tower as well which need to be cleaned. So significant effort on the part of rope access technicians, and that does not include the time period that's required, approximately 9 working days for 2 technicians to do the upgrades that will prevent reoccurrence. Next slide, please. To date,
So we know we are at our 5-minute mark, so I need a motion from council to extend. Councillor Mady, Deputy Mayor Shepley, any questions on that motion? All in favor? Okay, you have another 5 minutes.
Thank you. So as far as the upgrades go in the green here, we have just over 50% completed for the upgrades within the entire facility. There still continues to be additional upgrades that are required. And as far as cleaning the turbines go, we have 7 of them are clean currently and 17 that remain needed to be cleaned. We have prioritized schedule for cleaning the ones which are the dirtiest. So there may be some turbines which have very minor staining. That does not mean that they will continue to stain further. Typically, what we have observed is that once a leak has been stopped, we don't see restaining. So we're trying to target in this season to clean the ones that are most visually, unattractive. Next slide, please. Thank you. So AIM Harrow Wind Farm, we are dedicated, committed to continuing to work with our service provider to ensure that we are going to have these issues corrected and to have these units cleaned. We intend to continue operating in the community for years to come with providing clean, reliable, renewable energy, and by also committing to ensuring that we do not have repeat issues such as these which have been raised to our concern. So I want to thank you very much and open for any questions you may have for me.
That was great. We appreciate you taking action out there. Questions for Councillor Allard?
Chair, you say that you've done 7 so far and you have 17 left to go, but there's just minor stuff on the 17. How long do you think it'll take you to get them all done?
So the 17 that are remaining, there are a few of those which are more severe. There are a few of those which are minor. The priority right now is to get the ones that are more significant. It's challenging. What we've heard from the rope access technicians is that some of the ones that look really bad are actually easy to clean, and some of the ones that don't look so bad are really difficult to clean. So it depends on what exact mixture between the hydraulic fluid and the bearing grease has deposited, and what other factors such as the overall finish of the blade prior to that contamination. So unfortunately, we don't have a direct timeline right now, but we do intend to continue cleaning until the issue is complete or until we're no longer able to continue cleaning activities due to weather. And if we do have to stop because of weather, we do intend to continue as soon as the weather is favorable again to support that activity.
Definitely then Councillor Mady.
For that, when we met out there at the site, and it's nice to see that you're actually getting out there and doing the work and cleaning them up. I honestly didn't notice them before, but after I went out that day, I can't help but see them now whenever I drive around. So thank you for cleaning them up.
And it's not the view that we like to have within the community, but whenever this type of event happens, we're definitely it's definitely important for us to address it and to just grab the bull by the horns and ensure that it's done correctly, which is why we're pleased that our service provider has put in a lot of effort to try to identify proactive measures and perform some upgrades to prevent reoccurrence.
You, Madam Mayor. First, thank you very much for coming out. And I don't know if anybody knows the amount of distance you have to travel to get here. I really appreciate it. And then wait, it's amazing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the effort. I think it was important to hear how long it takes to clean one of these turbines too, because it's not a quick job. It's a very long job, and there's lots of them. And I also thought that was really important to hear that it's not it's a part failure that now you're aware of. And I think the second pie chart there was really good at showing that you're ahead of making the proactive repairs to these turbines. So that now we know the defective part, we're fixing it, and it's going to be a much better day for us. So again, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that with us. I do have one question on it. As as this wraps up again, and they're all clean, as soon as that happens, I don't want us to lose touch. So I would like us to maybe be able to have a reoccurring meeting, if it's yearly or every other year maybe or something. But I would like us to be able to stay in contact, because I do see a lot of your name now on a lot of our sponsorships too, and I think the town should know that we are making roads together.
Yeah, we're definitely willing to come and speak to council on a regular basis as needed to address any concerns that may be raised within the community. And also, as you mentioned, that there are significant financial contributions made by our organization within the community and surrounding communities. And we definitely will be continuing doing those things. So if there's other ideas that are great for us to look at, such as what we've seen earlier with the scanning of documents, things like that are, positive support within the community, just talk to Christopher Stewart. He gets to put forward the ideas, and he can bring them to our attention for review and approval.
Yay, it's working. Through the chair. So I know you said the soap that you're using is biodegradable, but what happens when all of that oil and grease that you're dropping down? Does the soap make that disappear? Is it falling into the soil? How are we cleaning up what is around the base of the wind turbines?
Had an environmental consultant come and review the area. They were unable to find any deposits of the oil or grease, which to me means that it's just been dispersed, if there was any, to a point where it's not undetectable generally. But with the product that they're using to clean it, it's being done with rags. And there's a photo that shows the gentleman on the nose cone, and he's got a very large bag with him, and that bag is for his soiled rags. So the intention is that they will moisten their rags with the product and wipe off the material, and then put those soiled rags within the bag so that there'll be no product of the mixture between the biodegradable product and the oils that'll be falling to the ground throughout the cleaning process. So we were provided with detailed plan of how to continue to work with the cleaning crew to assess what they're doing and to ensure that they're following the process that was reviewed and prepared by the environmental consultant. So we continue to do that regularly. I believe our site technician is there at least a couple of times a week, and our site manager is there at least weekly, and our regional manager there every other week.
Council? What is the decommissioning plan? Or that may be in the future, but is that something you can bring to us in the future?
Yes, in the future, when we have a plan, our intention right now is we're continuing to look at useful life extensions with our equipment, and we continue to study the life of the foundations. Whenever these were constructed, they were initially designed for a 20-year service life. Many of the components we've already understood by working with the vendor and with the designers are capable of lasting much longer than that. So we're continuously evaluating that based off of loading that the turbines themselves experience. And we've also heard from this particular turbine supplier that they have other customers who are extending the life of this type of unit to 35 years. But at the present time, we do not have any plans to share with the community about any extensions, because we don't yet have any viable opportunities. But the market renewal program, which the ISO has already launched, is creating a platform for which we are able to participate in potential aspects relating to that. And in the meantime, we do intend to maintain these so that the blades do not get dirty again.
Okay, thank you. And if somebody wanted to reach AIM and report an issue, how would they do that?
I don't believe that we have any public-facing information other than office located in Chatham, Kent area. But people can reach out to me or to Jason Stoner or to Christopher Stewart directly, and we can direct their questions to the appropriate personnel within our team.
Because over the years when I was a counselor, I was often contacted and it wasn't even my wheel. Maybe that's something we can discuss, putting even potentially on the utilities section of our website so that like we're just the middle person. We're getting the reporter problems into us, but it would be nice really if people could directly contact you, keep us, so we're using our time on our municipal responsibilities. Okay, that was great though. Looking for mover and a seconder that the presentation by Denny Richard be received. Counselor Mady, Counselor Hammond, any questions? Further question, Counselor Mady?
Madam Mayor, just the one last comment that, with the talks about the decommissioning or not decommissioning, prolonging the service life. That's why I think this is so important that we're making these connections right now and looking at furthering them so that we could have, really meaningful talks throughout the next few years. So again, thank you.
If I may, if we were to go down decommissioning these projects, primarily all components would either be sent for reuse or recycling with wind turbine blades as the equipment is approaching that age as part of the whole, wind community. There's more and more recycling opportunities that are presenting themselves, and we're tracking that rather closely. We work for an organization which has several wind and solar and battery storage. We're very heavy into renewables, and one of our owners is a renewable equity fund that is, very much in tune with environmental impacts, and everything that we do, they want the environmental sustainability goals to be kept within that as well. So the decommissioning, although we don't have any immediate plans, if that is the road that we take, everything will be recycled and the earth will be returned back to its original state.
Favor of the motion? Opposed, and that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much for coming down. Going forward to 8.4, Catherine Hengel and Rob Demena on behalf of Lake Crest Beach owners regarding the pickleball court. So head on back and together you get 10 minutes. Feels like Dragon's Den, eh?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and councillors. Thank you for permitting us to address you this evening regarding the pickleball court on Lake Crest Court. My name's Catherine Hengel. This is Rob Demena. We are both homeowners on Lake Crest Court as well as residents. Lake Crest Court is a private beach road with 23 properties, all which front along the water. Each property owns a piece of the road in front of their home. So you have the houses on the water side, and on the other side of the road, at one end of Lake Crest Court is Farm Field, and at the other end of Lake Crest Court, or Lake Crest Beach Road, is a landlocked town property, which about 12 years ago was reforested by IRCA by planting about 7,000 trees. And it includes around those trees a small, more or less grassed portion that runs along the road. So you've got the grass and then all the trees. And it's on a little part of this grassed portion of road that Mr. Demena installed a pickleball court. And he'll speak to you about that shortly. So then we have the road leading from County Road 50 down to our beach road. That road is also a private road, and it has farm fields on either side of it. And that takes you down to our beach road. So the only access to the town property, pickleball court, and our homes is through these two private roads. There are about 52 residents living on Lake Crest Court, ranging in age from grade school children to seniors in their mid-70s. Our road is managed by the Beach Residents Association of Homeowners, meaning we pay for our own snow removal, our road improvements, grading, and maintenance. Mr. Demena is also our road commissioner. The residents, for the most part, also manage that little grass piece that belongs to the town by keeping it neat and clean and free for the most part of weeds, because it does contribute to the aesthetics of our little beach community. We have a very vibrant and active community among our residents, and as such, the pickleball court was a very welcome addition. The court is used by many of the residents, both children and adults alike. It's become a great source of activity for our beach community, and many residents have taken up the sport since the spring. We've also taught the children on the beach to play pickleball, and I think they're quite enjoying it as well. So it's a great source of socialization, particularly in the evening. Someone will send out a text saying pickleball court at 7:30, and you get down there and residents and neighbors all come down, bring their chairs, sit and watch and visit, play, socialize. And it has become a very social and significant and healthy, made a healthy difference in our beach community, and we would very much like to continue it. We acknowledge that we did not follow the proper channels in having this court installed, but we are here tonight seeking your approval in principle to retain the pickleball court, subject to whatever terms and conditions that are required to address your concerns. We're interested in a discussion with you to perhaps prepare a formalized agreement, whether it's a lease or some other sort of agreement that would allow us to keep the pickleball court. We are prepared to lease it from the town, I said, or enter some other agreement. And we respectfully ask that you give due consideration to these options to address this unique situation of the town's landlocked property. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Demena.
Council, Madam Mayor. When I decided to build the pickleball court, it was nothing malicious about it. I have a great group of neighbors. They had talked about pickleball. I had played a little bit. I enjoyed it. So I chose to put it in. I got nothing malicious. It's about my community. My community is everything to me. The people of the residents of our beach are great. We're a very good community, and I like the people to be healthy. Again, as Catherine said, I mean, she covered most of the points, but a lease would be great, or some type of resolution. I have nothing else. One more thing, sorry. I'd like to thank the counselors that did come out and have a look at the court.
Thank you. You can have a seat. And if we have questions, or actually, any members of council have questions for the delegates at this point. Councillor Allard.
Rob, you had built this court, correct?
Yes.
Did you think of any other places to put it other than where you had put it at?
There was no place else that would have fit on the beach. So again, it's a piece of property that has been reforested, and we've been taking care of that piece of property for years. Very low tax burden to the town of Essex because our beaches, our roads are all private. We maintain everything there ourselves.
Thank you. Just turn your mic off there, and we're going to start with, unless there's any other questions, you can have a seat for a little bit if you want. We'll go to Mr. Macbeth, our manager of Capital Works and Asset Management.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the chair, I just want to highlight some of the points that Kevin Gerard, the Director of Infrastructure Services, had sent in an email to council before his vacation last week. So the pickleball ball court in question is currently constructed over top of our sanitary trunk main, which feeds into our sanitary treatment plant located on the property in question. It is also over top of the water main that services all the residents there. It's a 200 diameter water main. And the construction of this pickleball court, not with approval, would never have been granted in the location because we never would have approved it over our infrastructure. I know comments also were asked about whether or not it could be located in any other area, and per Director Gerard's map, they show various locations where this pickleball court could be installed on private property and not within the town's property. And I know that there's been questions raised about the property itself, being the fact that it's going to be our expansion lands for our sewer treatment plant. And while access to that will not be coming directly off of Lake Crest Road, there will be additional potential infrastructure and expansion there in neighboring property. So it has been on our radar. It's just unaware that this construction was taking place until it actually happened. And I'm here to answer any other questions that council has.
Okay, thank you. Director Malandrucolo.
Through the chair, just to add on to what Manager Macbeth said, Legally, I think there are some grave concerns with allowing something like this. First of all, it sets a really bad precedent for council. Basically, what council would be saying is if anybody put something up on town property without permission, that we would try to find a way to allow it. For example, if somebody went and threw a tennis court up on one of our parks, in this case, we're over critical infrastructure. Someone may put a tennis court up in our parks, not even over critical infrastructure, and we now would be setting a precedent to say, we need to try and find a way to keep it. So I think from a legal perspective, I think to begin with, that's bad. Besides that, there's insurance concerns. We're dealing with an athletic facility. If you spoke to our director of community services, you would know that for our tennis courts, we take certain precautions, certain types of fencing. We have certain rules. We close it down in the winter. We have to take care of ongoing regular maintenance. There's a lot of things we do from a safety perspective on our facilities that we would have to try and do to this facility. The other thing is that in order to enter into a lease agreement with the parties, we would have to determine who the parties are. So right now, it's a group of mixed individuals. It would be hard to enter into a lease agreement with them. If one of them moved, it would potentially change the tenants. It would change who is liable for the facility. The insurance coverage, if the insurance coverage is through them, it would change who the insurance coverage is through. So there'd be ongoing legal things that we would constantly be dealing with. The other thing is we would need some sort of assurance that we could demolish the property if we needed to get to that infrastructure. That would require some sort of big deposit from the tenants, something in the realm of maybe $10,000 to $15,000. Where that money would come from and how we would hold on to that money for the term of the lease, what we would do for escalation and inflation and stuff like that. It would be a very, very complicated legal relationship with a group of residents to allow something that was done without town permission. That's why we require town permission, because there's a lot of things that we look at and go through when we enter into lease agreements with parties. And we need to make sure that all of that due diligence is covered before something like this is done. The other thing is things like drainage. We don't know how this facility was created. There could be issues with drainage or other things that may not have been inspected or done that we would do as a town if we were doing something like this. So a lot of things that due diligence that we would have done or would need to do that we might not be able to do in this sort of situation.
Members of council? Councilor Garen.
Through the mayor. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that you're talking about are wouldn't even been considered anyways, because we likely wouldn't have allowed anything to be built on town property by private individuals, nor would we allow it to be maintained. Typically, we would put those type of things on Parks and Rec lands, and we would do that on taxpayer money, and we would do that by servicing that yearly ourselves as well. I don't play pickleball. I think it's a great sport. It seems to bring community together. I think that it brings all ages together. I see our tennis courts in Ward 1 getting used quite a bit for it. I just think this is a situation of a pickleball court being put on in the wrong spot. That's all. I agree with everything that's been said by administration, and I don't support it for those reasons.
Yeah, my main concern here is the negative impact it would have on our future sewer system in the area. We've got plans to upgrade our lagoon system. We just had a delegate last week that was chastising our lagoon system. We're aware of it, and we have plans to improve it. And this is in conflict to that right off the hop. So I have deep concerns about the whole thing, how it got done in the first place. It concerns me greatly.
Councilor Mady.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The map, to, Manager Macbeth, the map that Kevin Gerard shared with us and the location of our infrastructure as opposed to the, location of the pickleball court. I went out there and I took a look at it, and it seems to be that there might be some discrepancy that it's not actually over top of our infrastructure. Did we ever do like a locate or something to make sure that was over top of our infrastructure, or are we just going off of mapping?
We're going off of our GIS mapping and approximate location that was inspected in the field and drawn up there on Director Gerard's mapping.
Yeah, thank you. Further? Oh, sorry.
Our manager of environmental services also reported to the site to confirm it. Rob Mackey.
Mr. Macbeth, you said there was plotted lands that you've looked at that would be possible uses that Director Gerard had mentioned. Could we have that information given to the residents so that if they decide to move this, that they can have a spot that would work for them?
Through the chair, yes, we have no problem with sharing this map, and then if they want to choose one of those locations, could then apply for the required permits if required any for constructing this pickleball court.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. It's a great court. I went out and had a look at it, and I understand the use of it. And I also owned lake property like out there, and I had town-owned property attached to mine. And I maintained it. I looked after it. I felt a little bit of ownership to it. So I understand completely why you put it there. Down the beach just a little bit further, there's a nice fire pit that you guys are enjoying. You're really looking after your beach, and what you've done is nice. I said to you that I struggled with the fact that you didn't come to us first, and I understand, but it's whether it's directly on the infrastructure or beside it, that's posing a problem. I met with our legal and legislative to discuss maybe is there some options that we have here, and there were so many problems posed when I asked that I couldn't come to a solution that would work, that I could propose tonight. So I'm stuck with it might have to go, unfortunately. I hate to be the guy to tell you that, because I like what you've done. I love your little beach, and I understand the ownership of it. I've tried to find an alternative for you, and I haven't found anything viable that would work.
Here's the lease agreement. The court is actually built right behind my property. I mean, I would be the sole leaser. It wouldn't be the beach leasing it, which means I would cover the insurances, and whatever else the town needed to have that sense of comfort. As far as the infrastructure, I had it located myself. Water main is right beside it. I know that. The sewer is about 4 feet away from it. If that's a concern, I mean, most of our water mains and sewers are under hard surfaces throughout our city. We know that. It doesn't affect the life of it. Yeah, sorry, I'm not telling your jobs, but yeah, no, as far as the lease, like I said, I'd be more than willing to do that myself, and some type of an add-on to, if I do decide to sell the property, it's automatically gone. As far as removal, I can put something in there to guarantee the removal on my, or by my cost. So I'd like to try to find a solution to this, really. It's
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. I'm struggling because I think I have a question that we should probably go into camera to ask. It's going to be a little bit of a legal nature, and I don't want to. So I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed.
Wait, let's just make sure we talk out the process so everybody knows what that means. So that means we're going to talk about it without you here. And I just want to make sure we know how we're going to come back out on YouTube and everything like that. Okay. So would we start a whole new YouTube meeting? We can pause it? Okay. All right. So motion to go into close is moved and seconded. Any questions about that? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so that means that everybody that is not legally allowed to be here has to go into the hallway and then wait for us to open the door.